Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. I'm delighted to be virtually joined by Ramone and by Lucas. So good to have you guys here. For those that haven't seen Natives, let's take a look at a clip.
My way, motherfucker. Don't you stand up in my way, motherfucker. It'll be yourself to blame, motherfucker. If you get blown out the way, motherfucker, I'm not undercover.
Welcome, Ramone, and Lucas, welcome back.
Danny, thanks for having us.
It's good to have you. Listen, your film was brilliant, like absolutely brilliant. I mean, from every part to the filming, to the cast, to the directing, to the story, it was just top notch, like brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'm obviously building it up, but I want to say for anyone that hasn't seen Natives, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yeah, it's pretty much the story that takes place in the heart of East Los Angeles, and the main characters is between two cousins, and they experience a tragic death in the family. Canuto's father, which would be Stumps' uncle, and pretty much they're faced with the decision like how they want to move forward and reenact after his death when they're confronted, no spoilers, but with the killer. And it's just kind of about explores themes of just the world, good versus bad, and just kind of the path in life and just making really hard decisions. So a lot of great things going on there. Heart of a real LA story, but yeah, glad we can be here.
I mean, it's as much as it's it's a story that doesn't necessarily feel unfamiliar to what a lot of families have to go through. In fact, I got a friend that was in a very similar situation with his family. It felt something to me to seeing what he went through. I'm just curious for you personally, where did the inspiration come for you in deciding to turn this into a film?
Yeah, Lucas, you want me to kick this one off?
Yeah.
So I'd say I had a friend from high school, Luis Cuevas, who this story it's story by him, and it was just kind of a real it really started as a LA story. And even though I'm not necessarily from that community in East Los Angeles, I grew up more in this city, LA, but it's just kind of crazy. I mean, I even see any parts of the world, but like just the similarities and just this kind of idea of being a product of your environment, and not necessarily, I would say you kind of have to be like this kind of person coming out, which could honestly be the expectation, but we kind of see very like two similar expectations. These two main characters we would often describe as two different sides of the same coin. But I just even felt like I've felt this personally in my life. I know a lot of people in these situations, and yeah, it's not like the most happy story in the world, but I feel like even though there are these really fantastical things, it is a very grounded, real story with some real emotions in there.
It really is, and I want to get into your fantastic cast in a second, and obviously how I just thought it was wonderfully directed as well. But before we get into that, you found a dream team here because Lucas actually, who was alumni from a couple of years ago. How did you both come together to create this film baby?
Yeah, Ramone and I, we had met at USC Film School. We had both done the Peter Stark producing program. So we're both Trojans, and it's a very intensive program where there's only 24 people per year, and you have every class with the same people. So Ramone and I, stuck pretty closely through the time, and we knew that we wanted to collaborate and really just understood each other creatively. So this was a perfect match. And to kind of go back a little bit to the inspiration to add on to Ramone's great answer is this started out as what was like a play, and then we developed it into a script. And we really knew that there was something special there, and it ended up just being like a really great collaboration for both of us to use our talents and the ways to support each other. So that's kind of how we got hooked up and how Natives came to be. But, you know, just really proud to have had the experience, and, you know, what we're hoping to be a couple more films to come.
But I'll say a big shout out to your, like, I love the way you shot this film. I love the style. I love the production design. I love all the little nuances that you created. Like, it really felt like I was watching a film that I want to see more of this style. You know what I mean? The way it was shot. I mean, how you captured this sort of, you know, flashback scenes. It was really poignant. So,
yeah, thank you for that. I mean, yeah, big shout out to our DP, Will Rouse, who came in and just, you know, he's a very talented filmmaker and an amazing, you know, even better guy. And he came on and just really helped us bring this film to the next level. So him and our production designer, Mike Lamar, all across the board, Milana Edwards, who Ramone mentioned, who is our third producer and collaborator, all across the board. You know, so many people to shout out. But yeah, you know, I think this was like a different kind of film in the sense that, yeah, like we had like chapters to it. I feel like we were trying to tell a story in an interesting way. And as I alluded to earlier, there was musical elements, which we kind of scaled back, but, you know, there's just so many things where we had magical realism, the Day of the Dead imagery, and even original song that was wrapped in the backyard. So
amazing. Well, let's just get into your cast. Like, what I mean, everybody was pinpoint brilliant. Like, from the younger actors, you know, to the older cousins. Like, I was like mesmerized by these performances. Tell us a little bit more how you brought this cast together, because they were amazing.
Yeah. It was a pretty intensive like experience. We had a lot of people kind of come through. We just kind of did some online postings. Some, like, one of the head gangbangers was a friend of a friend that his name was Guns. But we had a lot of people come through, and we did multiple, Lucas, what would you call it, where we did chemistry reads with some of the actors. And I think, like, with all our choices, we definitely had like a few that played our leads of Canuto and Stomps, and I think every character. But what I really love, that each person was like extremely passionate about the story, whether they were, you know, some were from that area or just kind of had that background and that real understanding of this story. So that was like just what was ultimately important to me, was kind of just having an understanding. And, you know, I just see the hustle when people would just meet up, like, on other days to kind of just go through rehearsals and stuff. But yeah, we were extremely lucky. Lucas, if you want to touch on any of that.
Yeah, for sure. I think you hit it on the head. One of the most important things for us was finding people that could bring something and bring themselves to the role. And as Ramon mentioned, a lot of our casts, whether they've had lots of credits in the past, or, you know, for some people this was their first credit and they live in East LA. So I feel like everyone that we had cast had a personal connection that really embodied the character, and I think that really came across the show on screen. So that was really important for us in the casting process.
Well, I mean, you know, listen, the stakes are high in this film, you know, and I'm just so curious as a director, Ramone, like, how do you work with, you know, your actors? Like, what would you, I mean, obviously you mentioned about rehearsals, but, like, you know, these scenes are powerful scenes. What do you kind of improvise? What's your kind of process with that?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, there was like, I wish we could even extend it more on the kind of Spanglish accent. And even though my name is Ramon, like, I really can't speak like a lick of Spanish. So what I really tried to do is, and I mean, just my approach in life is just kind of be friends and, you know, like, kind of have a personal connection with all of the actors. So I would be like, there are definitely lines and actions that I feel like, look, this kind of you have to hit this for the sake of the story, but definitely feel free to kind of like flex your acting chops in this scene, or give me a take where you feel like, just, you know this character, and we talk about it a lot. Like, what would this character do? Like, even from a producing standpoint, you know, Lucas and I were just like really partners, and my other producing partner on this, Milana Edwards, as well. we would just really talk close, and I hear their advice. I'm not afraid to hear any of my actors' advice and what they think. And I think just for me, I try to keep open ears as like, you know, a young director coming in this space, but just how I always treated life, I will always hear everybody out. And I definitely, don't get me wrong, have a perspective on what I feel like it should be like. But yeah, I was just surprised at just some other performances or advice and how that would come out. I'm like, great. At the end of the day, we all want one thing, like a great project that people really respond to. So whatever can get me to that point in that piece, like, I'm all for.
100%. I think the other thing with that too is not just the actors on screen, but just the crew that we had. We had crew from East LA. We had people who live in the community, the people that allowed us to take over their home and shoot inside for extended days, getting them involved in the process. This film's about community. This film's about family. And we wanted to replicate that on our set as well. So it was a really collaborative process across the board. And, going and shooting inside East LA as outsiders, people that don't live in the community, we live nearby, but, this is their home, and gaining their trust and allowing us to be part of the process. They helped inform the script, and I think Ramone, even just like the small things of like, oh, we should make a King Taco reference because that's the iconic taco joint right on the corner. I feel like there were so many nuances that we gained from having those people part of the film. So I think that was really important for us in this film specifically.
Yeah, and I want to just go back to something Ramone mentioned earlier, which is like on the kind of social perspective of like I've had the pleasure of actually working with a lot of ex-gangbangers that have moved into entertainment, believe it or not, and weirdly. And the scariest thing is that their lives could go one way or the other. They could have had this opportunity to get out of their circumstances, or like his cousin who literally is there's a good heart in there right there, but he's trapped in this environment, and he knows he is, and as he's saying it, and like it was such a powerful moment to see those two together and know that one person is going one way, one person's the other. And then all we're going to see later on in life is just, this person has done this. And it saddens me because we forget the humanity behind these people and where they start in the part of their society and their environment and their family life. Was it something important to you to showcase in this film that like, listen, your life, it could have gone one way or the other, and there's a human behind this, because you really articulated that really well.
Yeah, I would kind of just say, like, even me growing up, kind of, I'd say I've had no handouts or, look, at the end of the day, I've had like a lot of things easier than a lot of people in this world. And I'm extremely grateful, not to say that everything's been just handed to me on a platter. But yeah, I would say I could even look at my life and it like could have really gone one way or the other. And I have just so many like best friends where it's like, some of just the smartest dudes, and just I can't even fault them for making these decisions in life. And it's just crazy how you could kind of see someone like be either like this really big superstar or just somebody kind of locked up or dead. And there is, and you just can't blame anyone for really their actions. I really believe in a product and environment. And let's just even say people that try their hardest, it's like you can't escape this cycle. And I don't want to say too much about the ending, but I mean, you kind of see ultimately he came to that decision, what's the right choice, but he still suffered those consequences of where he was from. And just like, it's hard to break out this cycle. And like I said yesterday on that Q&A, I'm not here to provide answers or like really what my perspective is, but I want to put forward just like this very real situation and this very real thing that people go through. And we spent hours talking about like how it should go and how we should influence the audience, but I'm just kind of like, hey, here's just really how it is, and interpret it as you may.
Yeah. Well, I mean, No, thank you. I mean, I think the greatness is that like any good film, we're still talking about it. You know what I mean? I'm still thinking about your film. I'm still thinking about how it affected me. And I want to share it with so many people. And, you know, I mean, that's the greatness. And, you know, I want more. But so it brings me on to say, what is next for you? What are you doing? Is this dream collaboration still happening? So what is next for you together or individually?
It's very much still going.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're always working on what's the next project. You know, I feel like right after we finished Natives, which at this point would have been just, you know, over a year ago, I feel like we just got withdrawals where I'd just call Ramone up and be like, how crazy was it? We did this. Like we got like a picture car and we went there and got all of these crazy things to happen. And, you know, we just had such a blast with it. And we know that we learned so much from the experience and want to just expand on that. So next up immediately, I feel the thing that comes to mind right now is we have another short that is in the works. Ramone, if you want to give any more, we can.
Yeah, I don't want to speak on too much that hasn't happened yet. And I was just with my cousin, who's kind of an actor and writer, earlier today. But you know, I'll just kind of say preliminary title. It's called Uncle. We have some potential young rising star actor kind of coming up in this industry, and you know, some actually who would play his uncle. A few big names. I don't want to probably say right now, but like that may kind of happen just because we've had the opportunity where someone could fund this. But that's our closest one right now. But Lucas and I always throw back projects back and forth to each other. I'll say, this dude, all I know is he's about to be like Hollywood's next big producer, and this guy still messes with me. So like, you know, if it's not this one, it will be a new one like very soon. But today I just had some new life in that, like, this could happen, even if like someone just throws us this money super quick and we'll turn it around in a month, honestly. And yeah, he has really good taste. I have I'd say I have pretty solid taste too, but just stories that are really out there but grounded at the same time. So something will be coming soon.
Just keep making more movies, guys. That's all we can say. Just please, just keep feeding us with your creative souls. That's all we can ask for. Listen, thanks both very much. You know, thank you for being part of New Filmmakers LA, and we're looking forward to seeing your next work. But Natives, everyone's got to watch it.
Thank you, Danny. Thanks so much.
Please check it out. Thank you all so much for this. This was amazing.
So glad to be here.